evening. Welcome to Sports Weekend on I-24 News. Live from the Jaffa Port, I'm Mirav Savir. On our show today, the closing ceremony of the Olympic Games just ended, and the last 2 weeks have given us a lot to recap. Paris Saint Germain gets our top spot of the week after winning again today. The Junior and Cadet European Fencing Championship is kicking off in Jerusalem. I-24 News caught up with a young competitor. And are the Spurs quietly the dark horse of the NBA this season? Joining me today for the show are I-24 News sports analyst Jonathan Regev, our Winter Olympics expert Wendy Rodi, and our Twitter expert Khal Devon. Hi, guys.
Evening, Mirav.
And joining us later on will be Danny Swabel. But in the meantime, we take a look back at the past 2 weeks in Sochi. They're over. After so much anticipation, the Winter Olympic Games came and flew by faster than we could imagine, with several records broken, jaws dropping, and happy athletes and spectators. Wendy, we've got our official medal count. We're going to take a look at it right now. Russia, the home team, topping the charts. 33 medals and 13 of them gold.
Yes, it's very great for Russia that they came back. In Vancouver, they only won 3 golds. So for them, 13 is a huge leap. It's
and that's what
really
I want to
nice.
ask you. Medals aside, which country do you think outperformed the rest?
Well, I would say Russia. I think that because of the fact that they only had 3 golds in Vancouver, they kicked it up this year. They had the home court advantage, we'll say, and
they really outshined everybody.
Yes, and amidst all of this, controversy and pressures and everything, they really stuck to their guns.
We took a look at the chart. Not only did they top it in overall, but also in golds. They took it all over the place.
Right. They beat their previous best from the '94 games in Lillehammer. They even beat the Soviet Union's best. They had 29 medals in Calgary, I believe it was. So, I mean, they really kicked it up.
And they've actually won a couple things for the first time in figure skating.
Yes, well, the team event for the first time, but also they kind of reclaimed their status because the Russian ice skaters were always on the top of the podium, and they were kind of missing in recent years. So I think for them it's really like a reclaiming.
It was a good thing for them. And now, so we've got our country outperforming. What about athlete that is really going to take away the Sochi Olympics?
Well, I would say that Irene Wust really she took home more medals than anyone, and actually, she's a Dutch speed skater, which they dominated all the speed skating events, and I think for her also, she's one of the few openly gay athletes of the Sochi Games, and it seemed that she didn't make this a platform for anything.
She really
stuck
went out
to
there
her
for the sport. And very quickly, what is the biggest disappointment of these games?
Well, I would say that the Russian hockey
they impressed and they're the biggest disappointment.
Dashed. Yes, they really hoped that they would take the gold. Alex Ovechkin even said that this gold medal in hockey would be worth $50 billion because...
But they didn't even make it to a medal game,
no gold,
not even
no
for
medal.
the bronze.
Yeah.
Well, Wendy, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And we continue on to this week's topic of the week, which also revolves around Sochi. Sochi, sports-wise, was incredible to watch, with fantastic, surprising, and some disappointing results. But outside of that, we also encountered several scandals. One we could have predicted would happen even before the Games. Punk band Pussy Riot were in Sochi, and Jonathan, they were jailed and allegedly beaten for being in the city.
I would not be surprised if they'll be jailed again. And that's regardless of that very provocative clip we saw by them last week.
The Pussy they released Riot, during the games
exactly,
also.
On purpose, of course. They have the ability to embarrass President Putin and the Russian administration again and again. They know how to press the buttons, and they get the international attention, which they want.
And they got it within a couple minutes. As soon as they were arrested, the entire world media was on this.
Of course. First, the rockers, they're famous rockers, they're attractive ladies, which always appeals worldwide, and they embarrass President Putin again and again. This clip that we saw last week, I think it was titled, "President Putin is going to teach you how to love our homeland," and you see policemen beating them up, and the previous clip for which they were jailed, that was filmed inside a church, a very famous cathedral in Russia. So they're
still they're still grabbing the headlines, and it's probably not going to be the last.
And they know how to do
them.
that. They know how to grab worldwide attention. They're very good at it.
That's not the only scandal we have. Wendy, one of the other things we saw is South Korea pointing fingers at Russia, saying you cheated in figure skating.
Yes, these things are kind of easy to do in figure skating, because even with the new judging system, there's still an element of subjectivity involved. And when you have someone with such big celebrity like Yoona Kim, I think there's a petition that has been started that has even more than 1.6 million
and more people
signatures.
Arguing one of the judges is married to an official of the Russian Federation, and all these things around it.
And one judge was also banned for 1 year because of some bribery scandal, and 4 of the 14 judges were Russian. But the sport of figure skating is not so popular that there's so many judges to pull from. So you can go both ways on it. I think the subjectivity can be blamed a little bit, but who's to say there wasn't some fishy business there?
Well, Wendy, thank you very much. And Michal, obviously the Twitter world abuzz about these scandals.
Of course. Earlier when you were talking about how Russia is probably the most successful, I said there's a little elephant in the room, maybe, small one, because a lot of people are mentioning the word cheating. Let's look at our first tweet. Winter Olympics wasn't all that bad this time around, but Russia needs to calm with the cheating. And again, why cheating? Because they won 13 gold, 11 silver, 3 bronze. That doesn't mean anything, 33 medals, or does it? Now, also with the figure skating, the panel didn't have anyone from the States, didn't have anyone from Korea, but they had 4
just continued
who
happened
to
be
East
European. What exactly. Other tweets do you have for us?
Other tweets. So, as you said, Pussy Riots, everyone is talking about them being the closing ceremony performance. Our next tweet. No, it's the next one. And next in our program, a performance from Pussy Riot closing ceremony. So I'm really sorry to disappoint everyone. They can't make it. They're
a little too busy getting in jail.
They might be in jail. But
somebody else may make it.
Someone else may make it. And let's take a look who it might be. Our next tweet, you see Putin as... We don't say there it is. Putin as the village people. Putin is all 6 of the village people. So, people are poking fun at him. But I have to say, he might have some sense of humor as well, because our next tweet is the closing ceremony pokes fun at opening ceremony ring. Let's take a look. No, it's the one after that. So apparently Putin has a sense of humor, because you all remember what happened during the opening ceremony.
The ring didn't light up, and all
the ring didn't light up. So what did they do for the closing ceremony? Let's see if we can see it on screen, because I have not seen it that far. Yes? No, we don't see it. But anyways, what they did is, again, light up only 4 of the rings, which shows Putin probably has a sense of humor as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Wendy Rody, thank you for joining us for the last 3 weeks talking about the Olympics.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And we continue with this week's report. The Junior and Cadet European Fencing Championship is being hosted in Jerusalem for the first time, and more than 1,000 competitors are expected to fight for the title in the Holy City. I-24 News' Flor Citroux caught up with Theo, a young man who just made Aliyah and is preparing for the tournament.
Theo fell into fencing when he was 6 years old, when his mother enrolled him by chance in the Boulogne Club near Paris.
Like many boys his age, Theo dreamt about Zorro, so he was very excited to train for a week in fencing. When we arrived in Israel, the first thing my husband did was find a club.
The young fencer just can't stop winning. He finished second in the 2013 Maccabiah Games and won Israel's Cadet Cup the same year.
It's a sport where strategy matters the most, as well as the power of the mind. 2 or 3 days before a championship, everything starts spinning in my head.
Theo became an Israeli citizen last year. And for the first time, he will wear the white and blue colours at an international competition, representing his new home country.
This is something huge for me. Wearing the Israeli flag, as much as competing in Jerusalem, this means a lot.
Fencing is traditionally a sport dominated by Italy, France, Hungary and Russia. Despite Israel's odds in the upcoming European Championship, the national team's coach believes in his fencers' chances.
We just came back from an international competition in Germany, and one of our 4 junior fencers, Yuval Frolich, came in 12th. The Israeli cadets and junior teams have had a lot of success, and it is even starting to catch up with the seniors. We hope it will bring some medals. Our dream, of course, is the Rio Olympics in 2016, and the next one.
Now, I just left a tough game. I took a lot of hits. Training with the Israeli team is at a very high level. Look, there are only good fencers here.
Hosting the European Junior Championships in Jerusalem is an exceptional event, and for Theo, this is a unique opportunity to play in the city he loves, in front of his family, and book his ticket to the World Championships as well.
Champions League play started up again this past week, giving us a lot more games and teams to talk about. But Jonathan, Paris Saint Germain won your top spot because they're not only playing well in Ligue 1, but outside of Ligue 1 as well.
We were wondering if they're good enough to make it in the Champions League. I think they gave us a clear answer. They won 4-0 in Germany against Bayer Leverkusen, second place in the Bundesliga. Yes, Bayer Leverkusen is not going through good times, but still winning so impressively outside, away from home. They're already in the quarterfinal.
But they're also playing really well at home.
Yes, they won 4-2 again today. Zlatan Ibrahimovic scoring again and
a hat trick.
Scoring a hat trick. There we see him, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, and they were very good last season, but this year they brought some new people to come along, like Edison Cavani. So they're making it big in France, on the way to a second championship. They're very strong in Europe. I will not be surprised to going very, very far this season.
And moving from there, somewhere that's not strong at all, it wasn't only recently that Italy dominated European football. What happened to them?
In the 80s and the 90s, that was the best league in the world. Maradona played there, Platini, Van Basten, Juri, the biggest names, they played in Italy. But now only one team from Italy made it to the second stage of the Champions League, and it's Milan.
Not looking good for them either.
It's Milan, the team that's not doing so good in Italy, and they lost 1-0 in the first game at home. So it will not be surprising to see no teams from Italy in the final 8 of the Champions League. The Italian league is going down. It's
all downhill from here. Can you see them going uphill at all?
It will happen eventually, but now they lost the third. If we said England, Spain, and Italy, those are the strongest leagues. Italy is not there anymore.
And one quick word: the Euro qualification draw was today. What do you think?
It's going to be very interesting because for the first time, 24 teams are going to appear in the Euro, which means also third-place teams in the qualifying groups will go to playoffs. Maybe. Finally, Israel will make it to somewhere. I wouldn't be too optimistic.
We will have to wait and see.
but maybe there's some hope. this time.
Jonathan Rey.
Only to be shattered in 2 years' time.
Well, let's hope it's not shattered this time. Jonathan Rey, thank you very much. And we're moving on to NBA action. Every year, the Spurs go on the rodeo road trip, a grueling stretch of games played away from the AT&T Center. And this year it was looking to be a grim trip with several injuries to starting players. And Danny, you're joining us now. They really surprised us this year, playing really well on this road trip, even without their starting five.
Why are we always so surprised by the Spurs winning? The Spurs have been winning for 10 years. They've been doing everything through injuries, through all the chatter. This road trip, come on. They beat Portland in overtime, amazing. The Clippers, they beat them. They killed them.
They beat up on the Clippers.
They beat up on the Clippers, exactly. It's like this team still has it. They obviously got their butts kicked against Phoenix, which that was at the end of the road trip, though, so that's to be expected.
Fatigue setting in, but this Spurs team is someone that we cannot disregard.
We can never disregard them. Look, this is the condensed version of every conversation about the Spurs in the last 10 years. First, they're too old to be a contender. We hear that all the time.
We've heard that one many a time.
They're injured, of course, but the thing is they're still winning. We also hear it looks like San Antonio will finally be put out to pasture by insert young team here. It's always the case with them, but they still end up making it to the finals a lot of years.
And you saw this last year when they were just a minute away from winning it all.
That's right. They were a minute away. People always ask, how much more does San Antonio still have in their tank? Well, obviously, yes. We have to say, like, if Duncan should retire soon and Ginobili should fall apart soon or Tony Parker should pursue this rap career, yes, it might be the downfall of this team.
But for now, they're not going anywhere.
For now, they are still doing it, and they're ranked up at the top.
And we actually saw two other teams go at it this week. Somewhat of a disappointing game, the Thunder and the Heat, and we did see Russell Westbrook come back. What is it going to be like now with Westbrook and Durant on the floor together again?
You know, yeah, that game was definitely a big letdown, but I expected that because, yes, Westbrook coming back, you knew he was going to be a little rusty. He was. The thing is, there's a lot of chatter right now. How are those two going to coexist? Can they coexist?
Because Westbrook loves to shoot, and Durant is just on fire.
Listen, they've been together 6 years. You know, Westbrook was gone 27 or so games. They're going to find their way. Durant is still going to be in the running for MVP. He's not going to be in the shadows of LeBron. He's still going to do what he does.
And very quickly, you already mentioned LeBron. They beat up on the Thunder in that game back. What do you expect from the Heat next?
Well, I actually looked at the power rankings. rankings, and now the Heat are actually considered the top of the power rankings, ahead of Indiana and ahead of OKC, which is a bit of a surprise, but at the same time not. They've won 9 of the last 11 games, and LeBron is averaging 37 points and 61% shooting in the last 4 games.
Which shouldn't really be surprising for him anymore.
He's been doing it, and also Wade has been really stepping up. If he's healthy and he continues to play, especially how he played against OKC, the Heat will do what they do, unfortunately.
Well, Danny Swibel, thank you very much. And that's all for us today. For the latest sports news, you can find us online, i24news.tv, our Facebook page, or our Twitter page. And you can tweet at us at i24news sports. We'd love to hear from you on there. From all of us here on Sports Weekend, I'm Jaffa Port. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you right back here next Sunday for the latest in the sports world.